So I got Tzolk'in here. Gonna talk about foam coring. I've got foam core here. I just foam cored Tzolk'in, finished a week or two ago. I think it looks really nice. I always say this at the start of my videos. I use black 3/16. It's about 4 to 5 millimeters thick black foam core. A 20 by 30 sheet is enough to do any game. You can usually buy that at Office Max, Office Depot. So that's what I use. But here's Tzolk'in. If you're not familiar with the game, some of this won't make very much sense, but I'll go ahead and talk about it like you are. So here we go. Got the rules here. They just kind of float on top. This game, some of the games, the rules are as thick as, or as wide and big as the box. I kind of like those because it kind of makes it a nice sheet, but that's okay. These rules are also extremely thin, so I didn't have to take them into account when measuring, but I usually do. I usually just go ahead and give them a millimeter or two at the top for the rules. Pull off the side. So here's Tzolk'in. Here's what it looks like. You can see here I've got the color dividers at the bottom, so each person has their own little box. Kind of makes it really nice for grab and go. Hey, you want to be green, you get the green box, blue, whatever. I've got my buildings at the top. I've got some other things, but let's dive in. So I usually start by pulling out this spare thing. I've got this little thing here that I just can push my thumb down, and you can see that things start to rise. So go ahead and pull that out. That's just a separator piece slash keeps it nice in here. So pull that off to the side. So here's actually what it looks like. And then I just start pulling stuff out. So got my corn right here in the middle. Let's see here. Let me see what I want to pull out first. There we go. So pull this one out. I've got a box here. Find my ruler real quick. 1 second. Alright, so I got my ruler here. Give you approximate dimensions because some people ask about that. But this one is about 120, right? Yep, 120 millimeter by approximately 95 millimeter. This is a great box. It's where I keep my skulls. The skulls are nice and rounded, so putting your finger in and pulling, they kind of start messing around in there. So that's kind of cool. Oh, one got stuck in there. I'll pull that out later. This was an interesting one. I went back and forth. Do I want to keep all the resources separate in their own little square boxes, or do I want to keep them mixed together like this? The reason I chose mixed together, honestly, is because I ran out of room. I had this huge box. Probably could have done it a little bit differently, but ultimately I ran out of room. So what I did instead is put them all in here, but I accidentally built this box perfectly sized that all of these could lay flat at the bottom. So that was a problem because you couldn't actually get your fingers here to pull them out. So what I did is I put a couple steps in here. It's just some foam core like this with a step that sits on it like that. And basically that way you can actually reach them this way and pull them out. With your fingers you can come in this side too as well and pull them out that way. And then I just shake it a little bit. Everything kind of goes back together like that. So that's that box. I got my corn here. Corn box is approximately 102 by 82 or so. I forgot to tell you the height of the last one, but it's exactly the same. So this is about 20 or so, 22 millimeters high. This just sits right on top of the major gear. So if you're familiar with the game, there's a big gear in the middle that you spin, and this just sits and spins right on top of that one. So keep that over here. Next out of the box, you got your starting bonuses. Let's see if I can pull that out nice and easily. There we go. So I built this in a way that you can slide them out here. They just kind of go like that. These are random. You do pull these out, you can shuffle them, and then you deal a certain amount to each player, and then they choose one and put them back. This is exactly the height of the foam core, if you can see that there. If I would have done this, if I did this again, I'd probably just build this a little bit higher. I don't know why I didn't. I would have built it the height of the other two, but as you can see here, it's about 100 and I'm sorry, it's about 15 or so millimeters is all, unfortunately. This one's smaller. this one's 85 by, let's see here, 55 or so millimeters. We'll skip the corn, we'll come back to that. But I've got this one here. I put a little thumb hole, I don't know if you can see that, but right here there's a little finger hole to pull this up. I did that because I really couldn't get this one out. So I put that in there. This lifts up like this, and I'm actually really proud of this box. I'll slide this out of the way for a second. So I needed a way to store the buildings in their own little separate areas, but obviously you can't dig these out of here. So what I did is I cut the divider walls in a way, if you can see this here, that they puzzle piece together. So you can actually pull this off the front like this. And you can see I did put a bend in there. Not too concerned about that. Over the days it might get worse and worse, but it does bend a little bit, not a big deal. That does allow you to then pull the buildings out. Again, randomized buildings. You can shuffle them, throw them back in here, and then this can just sit off to the side as you're playing the game, which is really nice to restock. When you need the next one, you can just pull it right out of here for the monuments, for the age 1, stuff like that. So that's that. Put that back together in a little bit. Pull this back in here. We do have the 4 colors, as you can see here. Doesn't really matter, they all come out the same, but I usually just pull out the middle one here, and then give you your color. In here we've got the big people, we've got the little markers that go on the monuments, I can't even think what they're called, and then the scorekeeper is in here as well. I do put all of them in here, and then I require the people to actually take 3 for themselves, 3 for the bank, put all their guys out. But this way I kind of get to hand you your own little box. I placed these at a downward angle. You can see if I flip it around here like this, there's this little half wall here, my finger behind it there, and then that sits at a little bit of an angle. The reason I chose that way is because I kind of wanted you to be able to sit there in front of you like this. I wanted all the pieces to roll to the bottom, stuff like that. So we can pull all those out real quick here. Grab you. Yellow and the red, and now we're got that. This one here I'm also pretty proud of. You can pull the corn off. I'll flip it here so you can really see it. You can pull the corn off in multiple ways. The way I like to do it is just pull this whole thing out like this, real carefully. Go ahead and set this off to the side for a moment here. And then what you can do is actually lift up. I built this into a frame. It takes a little bit of nudging, not a big deal. So that's just a little frame I built around, which is pretty cool. You can see that here if you want to know the dimensions. 100 by 53 or so, not a big deal. And that I can put here, and then these are actually ready to go. They sit right on the board, just like this. If you're familiar, they sit right on their little edge, and I'll talk about those in just a second. And then here's tier 1. I've got the hole in the middle and the thumb hole I put here to grab out. I like them. It's a little difficult to do this right in the middle like that. It's kind of like if you're familiar with the paper, you had to put a little hole and then cut it around. But it works. It looks good. It's a nice little cut off to the side with that one. Here's the bottom of the box. Everything sits in here real nice. I did build this nice and tall. It does line flush with the walls here. And then I did cut a little thing here. I don't know why I wanted to give importance to this piece. It's the starting player tile, but I think because it has the theme, it's kind of like who's gonna start the game, everything like that. I wanted to give that a little bit of importance, so that's glued in there nice and tight. And I also wanted to take up a little bit more space in the bottom tier. These all sit here pretty nice. They stack in any which order that you'd like, so pull those out. I did put a little notch here. I don't know if you can see that, but there's a little hole there. There's one board, I believe it's the blue board, that is a little bit long. Once you put the 5mm foam core, it's literally a millimeter or 2 long. So all I did is just put that little notch in there. and that way I can slide it in. But that is the only one that has a spot. I could have put that notch all the way down, but I didn't. So throw the box over here for a second, show you a couple of the things. The starting, this is the main one here that spins. The corn just kind of sits there and spins in the middle of the box. It's kind of like the money of the game, let's say. We do have the monument tiles here, so I just kind of keep this right off to the side, usually backwards, I'm not sure why, but these just kind of come in here like this, and then you can kind of replace those as necessary. I really like this box. And then I've got my corn tiles here. Again, proud of this box. These kind of just sit here like this. It makes it a perfect little setup. And then you can just put all 4 of them here like that. Like that. Kind of defines them, highlights them a little bit more. Shows it off. Under each one of these 3, I have the corresponding wood one. If you can see that there. It's got wood. Yeah, that happens if you tilt it. So those sit here, and then as you buy, of course, there's no wood under these first ones here. So these just kind of lift off like that. I like this. It's you can see they're a little wobbly if you're trying to pull off the bottom one, but ultimately what it does is it keeps everything kind of nice and clean. It looks really good. Otherwise, you're kind of stacking this together before the game. Game prep, ultimately my goal when I foam core is to decrease game prep so that you can sit down and just start playing right away. I mean, that's the best part to any game. So I'm going to go ahead and clean up my game, and you can kind of see as I put everything back together. So someone can sit with all of these and go ahead and make up the stacks as they belong, and then they can just stack it together and kind of wait. Again, here's the bottom of the box. In no particular order. I just kind of slide them all in here. I'm a little OCD, so I like to put that in the nice edge at the bottom, but it doesn't always work out. So I usually just stack all of these in here, and then I do the blue one last because the blue one has to go in that little notch. Maybe I should put the blue one down 1 or 2 rows here just to see. Yeah, there it is. So I need to keep it 2 from the top as well. So there's that. I'm going to put this back in here like this. And then all the players can clean up their own little colors. That goes in here like this in no particular order. Got a couple stragglers of the blue. Let's see here. There we go. And then the yellow just kind of fits in there. I can put this here. Put all those buildings back in there, and then this goes just like that. So if you can see here, kind of puzzles on there. It sits down inside like that. The corn is a little trickier, not bad. I just kind of put the thing there, and then actually I come in here like this. I get these stacked real nice and tight. And then once you do this, they actually drop in there, but since they're so small, there's nowhere for it to go. So you can actually just drop it in there and get close, and then you just kind of tap it in there like that. So it works pretty well, holding the corns and the woods in place, like that. Like that. Then I put these guys in next. I need to remember to face them away. Because that way I can grab this base out real nice and easy. If you saw, I had a couple space takers. Could have better utilized that space, but I really liked how this fit, and I liked how these 2 things fit, and that was really important to me. And then I just used the rest of it for the others. So corn just kind of slides in here like this, like that. Everything's pretty snug, as you can see. Still got that skull down in there. And then I use this to cover it up, makes it look a little nice, just like that. Throw the rules on top, and I'm all set. And then I usually show this off a little bit. The reason I do it, I store a lot of my games sideways like this. I can actually turn the game I am applying some pressure, of course, but I can do whatever I want like that. And then when you pull the game out, oh, look, I got a couple stragglers here, but for the most part, everything's kind of in its own little spot. This game was a little harder. Had a couple things that might be a little tall, allowing that to hop over some of the corns, but for the most part, everything's in here. I don't have little baggies or anything like that. So let me know if you have any questions. Happy to answer, happy to make other videos. Thanks.